best they could, you know? And that's all that was mattered. Like they, as much as they saved like a bunch of lives there, at the end of the day, it was like still, there was like a divide, you know what I mean? There was a divide. There was a huge divide. You know what I mean? It's crazy. If I mute somebody, it's still here. So we just gonna press block. I know a little bit Swahili too. But like I said, this is my blood brother on my mom's side. Same mom, different dad. And I'm talking about this time when he was working at Access Healing Center and why, what I was going through over there at this outpatient with lodging facility, right? Now, hold on. All right, so that was really it. Stop. Whenever he showed up to the main office, he'd be talking to everybody, and then it come to me and kind of like you can feel like the animosity, right? So he's always try to fake a smile, fake a relationship, you know what I mean? Try to put me to the side, talk about like preparation, dedication, all that other, you know, stuff, right? Which is good information, but I'm looking at like where the source is coming from, you know what I mean? If you're talking about resentfulness, forgiveness, and all that stuff, but you still haven't asked me for forgiveness for the things that you did when I was too young to make my own decisions. I first met him, great guy. We actually met at the mosque, at that Access Healing Center house. This was before I was a client there. Yeah, I went there one day before I was a client, but you know, still grateful to be there because my brother took me there, right? Went to the house, getting in tune with like the people that live in there and all that stuff, and I believe we're getting haircuts. I'm not sure. Eid was coming up, right? So Eid came, and then we were at the North Minneapolis, right next to the Cup Foods in the North Minneapolis mosque. And who was there? My sister, Yasmin East, was there. My little nephew was there. My little niece was there. It was a pretty good time, and I was sober for like about at least a month at the time, 3 to 4. Don't quote me on that. Like 3 to 4 weeks. And Eid came, and you know I was there. Just prayed, went downstairs. They have amazing food at that center. Ate some food a little bit, took some pictures. You know how it goes. But I never was familiar with like family reunions and stuff like that, you know? So I guess it was pretty chill. At the end of that, went to the breakfast, the original pancake house. After we ate over there, it was really just like, you know, get dropped off, and that was really it. Which at the time, it was cool. You know what I mean? It was cool. Now, right after that, you know, Eid holiday, we're just learning a lot. And as you guys know, I already met all the clients before I was even a client there by being taken over to that house by this guy right here. We all just were like in this together, you know? Because no matter like what our backgrounds are, what our qabills are, our tribes, whatever it is, we'd always have one common topic. What is the management doing? Every day was like an argument because like, you know, it would need a de-escalation at the house, you know, because we're in outpatient lodging, but nobody's able to leave. And on top of that, you know, no one's even able to apply for benefits. And that means that now who takes control of our food? Musa, Blue, and Mabad, they did an amazing job, you know, like they would make sure that we would eat, right? As clients, right? They would make sure that we would eat. But when they're making sure that we would eat, you know, this was a plus, right? Grateful for it. But in the previous treatment centers that I went to, it was always easy to just, you know, apply for my benefits. So a lot of the guys in the house would say, hey man, could you help me out, apply this, that, and the third? And I had a system with it, yeah. But it got to the point where, you know, some of the management would start coming over to the house in North Minneapolis. when they would come, they said, hey guys, you know what I mean? You're saying who would come? Musa would come sometimes. Hebad would come sometimes with Musa. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, it would be a great conversation. Like when they walk in the door, great conversation, the energy's high and everything, right? But the conversation, the reason why they came, right, was like something completely different. The reason why they came was to kind of tell us, hey, we're spending a little bit too much on groceries every week. You know, we're trying to save. This is coming from management, right? They're saying that they're trying to save money, and that, you know, like to like, you know, pick out the types of food that we want and stuff like that, right? They're not denying to keep buying this food, right? But however, they're also there's like this stress that kind of got on our back. We're like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. You know, you guys even have to do this for us? And if it's something that's forced, then why is anyone complaining about that, right? And if you guys are complaining about the business, but we're clients, why do we have to even worry about the business? You know what I mean? We're obviously here, we're obviously, you know, all going through drug and alcohol addiction. However, now we have another stress on our shoulders that I believe that they didn't like look at it as a stress for us, right? Like it was just, you know what I mean, like business. But when I read like the rules and regulations, I was like, wait, why am I even, like, why do I have to listen to this, you know? But I was there every meeting, just listening, sitting down, just getting through the conversation. And at the end, the great thing about them was they let us speak, you know? So at the end, we speak our concerns, but it would fall on deaf ears. Because it's like we're being told, however, we're not being listened to, you know? So it kind of felt like, oh, okay, yeah, so we're just addicts and alcoholics that you could tell everything to, and you expect us to jump how you say. But the minute that we want to share anything, it's a rebuttal, you know? Or like, you know, the conversation kind of changes. So, I was watching that. I was keeping my eye out. Because a lot of the members' pain, including mine, was like, yo, it became routine. It became like routine where that they come to the house and talk about the money that the management is spending on groceries, but in reality the law says that we are all capable of buying our own groceries if we're able to apply for our benefits. And you're doing this because you chose to, right? Now, this is a choice that you, management, chose by yourselves, right? Now, if the conversation was much more different, like, hey, you know, here's what we're gonna do the first 2 weeks is do this. After that, you guys got it. That would be it would have been a different response for me. But just because, you know, it became a way to have a meeting every week at the house just to talk about nothing other than groceries. Which, as you guys know, to anybody that's in those shoes, to anybody that's trying to get clean, you know, it's like unnecessary stress or unnecessary conversation, all right? Now it just becomes like a once a week thing to now something that's so repetitive where you just begin to like, you know, kind of just like put on a headphone or something and just, you know, kind of just zone out. And you're not doing it out of disrespect. You're just zoning out because you're like, you know what? I'm hearing this conversation every single week. And it always has to do something about the business. You know what I mean? Not having like money or just starting off and all that. But as business owners of an outpatient with lodging center, have you guys talked to other people that have an outpatient with lodging center? And did you tell them about the problem so you guys can like work something out? That would have been better. Or have you guys listened to your clients and came up with a solution, right? But again, I don't really see a problem with it at the time. But now you have people, now you have like just management visitors at the house every single day. Or like every once or twice a week, speaking about groceries, right? And how that the company is just starting off, and X, Y, and Z. And it's just like you get to a point where, you know, even some of the staff there is kind of getting bothered by that, you know what I mean? So, oh yeah, it also kind of like sucked when he would come to the house and talk about groceries as well. Just like, dude, you're getting paid to watch your brother. Like, what else do you gotta say? So yeah, that was like my first oh, somebody said, how was your brother your staff? I'm confused. Oh, he was my staff member at Access Healing Center. I'm not sure how it happened, but he was my staff member my whole duration there. But like around like the 3 or 4 month mark, don't quote me on this, he began to work at the opposite house that I was at. However, there would be days where he'd still pick us up in his car and take us over to this gym that we'd go to. So still, he'd be doing my care. Now, I don't know how you sign that up because he got his CPRS license from Kairos. And we all know what happened to Kairos, you know. So that's besides the point, right? That's that. So then you have staff coming to the house once a week talking about groceries and all this stuff and how their company needs to save money. You know, like it's a new company. You know, we want to be like a good, you know, culturally specific company. But right now we're kind of just starting off and all our money is kind of really going right back into the business. It's like I'm hearing logistics about the business and I am and we are the business, you know. But at first when they, like the first week they came, it was like totally normal, you know. Like, okay. You know, look at them as sisters and brothers, like, okay, cool. You know, I'm trying to just get things done. I understand. And we just, you know, took out a notebook and we just figured things out. And we got through it. But when it started to show up every week, isn't that conflict of interest? I don't know, man. You tell me. You tell me. And if that is conflict of interest, you know, did the owners know about that? When Hibad Sharif stated that she knew my mother. So if you know my mother, that means you know my family. And if you guys are from the same Qabil as my family and my mother, that means you know exactly who he is. You know exactly who I am. Right? It's not hard to kind of pinpoint it, but I guess you could just say we don't know, right? If you look at YouTube histories and all that stuff, type stuff, but I guess. So, here was our daily schedule for the first like couple months. Sometimes we'd be able to go to the gym. There's like another vehicle there, which they were very good about, you know. But as guys who are at treatment for the most part of the day, coming home, eating food, right? And we're all stuck in the house. It's like our phones get taken away at night. Excuse me. It's like. And then, on top of that, got my brother watching me. Okay. It gets to the point you're just like, damn, bro. This is the right place for me. But I'm eating, guys. It's just, it gets to the point where it's like, is this place right for me? I didn't want salam. It kind of gets to a point where it's just like, is this right for my recovery right now? But then I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to leave so many times. Nobody forced me to stay. However, I was like, you know what? If I'm going through this and this is how it is, but then all these other clients are coming to my room. Like most of them come to my room and I know them, like way before treatment when I was younger. It's like, and they telling me their issues. I'm like, bro, if I leave right now then, and I'm sober, it's like, what if one of these people look up to me, you know, as much as I look up to them? Just for like the good and just keeping the bad away, you know? I was like, damn, if I leave right now, I don't know, man. Like I wanna make sure that, you know, one of my partners in there, like, gets to make it out of this, at least stay sober for a few months. So I was like, all right, cool. All right, made a decision. I was like, yep, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna at least graduate, check out the step down program, and then from there leave. That was my goal. I kept it to myself. I didn't share it with anybody. Was this mostly Somali service? Yes. So, you know, Shortly after, I won't say his name, but great guy came, right? Great guy came as a client. A lot of wisdom, you know. However, I was told by Hibad that like she pulled me to the side and said, yeah, he doesn't have insurance. Yeah. Yeah. You? Charger. You want to use it? Oh, no. That's mine. Yeah. Yeah. That's my charger. That's mine. That's one. Yes. Good? Yeah. You have wire? You have wire.
Why?
Yeah, you could charge it over there. You could charge over there. No,